Hello and welcome to Chatz, a television podcast, Season 4, The Chatz Room. My name is Magellan, and I'm joined by somebody who I found on Foursquare. It's Alan.
Oh, God. Just hunt me down and tell me where I do my laundry.
In Astoria, which isn't too far away from where I live.
Ooh, call-out post. Is that a call-out post?
Is that a what?
Don't worry about it. I'll tell you when you're older.
Did you say call-out post?
Yeah.
Because that doesn't mean anything, what you just said. Those words
aren't words.
Those words you strung together have no significance. In that
I strung
order.
it together with popcorn. Why is it called popcorn string? Hold on.
Because you put popcorn on string.
Okay, thank you. I was worried.
It's a treat. It's a nice treat. It's a Christmas treat.
Why not just eat popcorn?
Because then it's not on a string. I was, I want to thank you because I was just trying to think about something I could have for dessert, and I just remembered that I got popcorn yesterday.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
Congrats on your purchase.
It's going to be awesome. I've been watching
Can you imagine?
This Netflix movie. I'm going to really chow down.
Put on Bright, snack on some popcorn string. I was going to say, can you imagine you go to like the not regional warehouse shopping mart and you buy a bunch of stuff and then the clerk is like, all right, have a good one. Congratulations. You're like, on what? And they're like, on your purchase. You're like, I spent $200. What? Congratulations. Good job. And they like shake your hand and like high five you and pat you on the back. And you're like, okay, I'm going to eat my popcorn string now. Michelle, what's going on? What are we doing here?
Hold on. I'm busy imagining everything that you just put at my feet. Listen, we're doing a show. It's great. This is a podcast about the Newsroom, in case you haven't figured that out. Every week we watch 2 episodes of Aaron Sorkin's opus. I don't know that I'd call it his magnum opus, but it's certainly
I almost choked on water.
one of the opuses. And then we talk about those 2 episodes as friends would and do. This week we watched Season 2, Episode 1. We're in Season 2. It's a whole new world here. Yeah. Season 2, Episode 1, first thing we do, let's kill all the lawyers. And Season 2, Episode 2, the Genoa tip. The first episode is what we'll discuss first, because we are slaves to chronology, as are all human beings. It was written by Aaron Sorkin, directed by Alan Powell. Is that how we've been saying it?
It's actually Powell.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it's not. It's not actually Powell. It's Powell.
Powell. Okay, great. Written by Aaron Sorkin, directed by Alan Powell, and it aired on July 14th, 2013, but takes place on August 23rd, 2011, and going all the way through September 12th, 2011. Alan, what happened in First Thing We Do, Let's Kill All the Lawyers?
Ooh, well, Magellan, in this episode, on November 5th, 2012, Will McAvoy is being interviewed by a corporate attorney investigating a supposed controversial secret operation known as Operation Genoa, which alleges that the U.S. committed a war crime via nerve gas, and the Pentagon covered it up, which helped Newsnight achieve highest viewership and become the most viewed program in the history of cable news. Maggie has red hair. The attorney comments about it. Will responds that it was due to a report she made in Uganda, as if that somehow makes any sense. Meanwhile, in the past, not willing to stay in the newsroom with Maggie, Jim lobbies to be sent on the campaign trail to report on the Romney campaign. To replace him, he's assigned Jerry Dantana from the Washington, D.C. branch, who is monitoring U.S. drone strikes in the Middle East. During a panel with Sloan, a panelist reports to Dantana about a story that, quote, makes careers and ends presidencies. Will is also pulled off of the Newsnight coverage for the 10-year anniversary of 9/11 for calling the Tea Party the American Taliban. Dawn watches YouTube footage of Maggie pronouncing her feelings for Jim, leaves the apartment, and finally, Neil convinces Mackenzie that the newsroom should pursue the Occupy Wall Street movement. Mac encourages him to attend their General Assembly meeting where he meets the mysterious Shelley Wexler. Fuck, dude, fuck.
All right, man. Let's do it.
I don't want it.
Let's dive right in. So the thing that I know about Genoa is not something I'm supposed to know yet, right? Or
Yeah.
was that revealed in the first episode?
Well, it's complicated. So Genoa is framed as this sort of event, this critical misstep in the history of ACN, this big mistake. And it's like, it's pretty common sense that, like, we've been talking for all of season 1 about how like the most important thing is that we do the news right.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, duh, they did the news wrong. Specifically how they did it wrong is a little bit of a mystery, or it's framed as a
I
mystery.
see. Okay.
But it's pretty obvious they got the facts wrong. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
the specifics of it are what are revealed over the season. But yeah, it's not a huge reveal to be like, yeah, they got the fact. Something was there's an error in translation somewhere that led to them reporting some wrong stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. I see.
I was going to ask you, though, speaking of that, because that is the season's plot. This is not a long season. We're going to be talking about the season for like, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks max.
Yeah.
And then we'll be right out of here. Are you interested in that, even though you know?
No.
Oh, no.
No, I'm not.
No.
Just this idea of telling a story where the end point is known and we're filling in the blanks, I don't think is a very good way to tell stories. I think that Aaron Sorkin was able to pull it off with a couple episodes because there was something novel about it. But here he's setting 5 or 6 different endpoints and saying, "Oh, this matters. Like it matters that Jim went here. It matters that this guy showed up. It matters that Maggie has this hair, and now I'm going to tell you why." It's supposed to hook me, I guess, but it really just makes me frustrated because I know that nothing's going to happen except those things that I'm already being shown. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm not. I don't care.
Would you say overall you're a little cold on season 2 right now?
Yep.
But
Yes, I think that's accurate to say.
it's a bummer. It's just, especially this episode is really like not a lot happens. They just kind of set up some stuff, and we're introduced to a couple new characters. The lawyer is pretty cool. Marcia Gay Harden is a good actress. She's got a good sass. She's got a good Sorkin sass, I guess.
Yeah.
We get to watch Reese get teased. Like, there's like little fun moments in this episode, but this is like not. This is a bad season of television. I'm just gonna say it for now.
Yeah.
It's like you said. They really think you're supposed to care about what's the nature of Genoa and why Maggie's hair is red. Like, y'all, it is so embarrassing that Aaron Sorkin wrote the line where, you know, Will is talking to the lawyer and she's like, "Why is that girl's hair red? What happened?" And he's like, "It's PTSD. She was in Uganda. Some shit happened. She got a little messed up." It's like, what? I can't cut my hair and get Shane dye it unless I go through trauma? All right.
Yeah, it's weird. And it just makes me groan at the thought of having to see that play out over the course of the season.
Right, it's like some Mulan shit. Or like, I cut my hair and dyed it because of patriarchy or some shit. Speaking of some shit, like Reese, that whole Reese scene, which is like what immediately follows this introduction, talk about unnecessary. I honestly think that scene exists just to remind us and to like get that actor his paycheck. And to just be like, "Hey, Reese is still on the show, guys, look. And to remind us, because that takes place in the present, the 2012 present. It's supposed to be like, oh, ACN's reputation has changed.
The 2012 present where they're being investigated with the lawyer, or the lawyers there?
I believe that's where it takes place.
No, wasn't that like they're being locked out of these corporate or these Senate subcommittee meetings because he called them the American Taliban? Yeah, I think that was what that was.
Right. So it is end up being that. But they use that exact device like 5 times in both of these episodes.
Right. They really make a big to-do out of that.
Republicans hated that shit that you guys did about the Americans. Why did you did that? I can't believe you did that. No one likes you anymore.
I guess that would have that effect, but it just doesn't feel that way because the Tea Party doesn't matter.
Yeah. The Tea Party, unfortunately, like Occupy Wall Street, is one of those things that I'm positive if I were watching this when it came out or was there when it was happening, I would have been more interested in those things. Right. But both of those seem like hilarious jokes now. Like Reese is there also, speaking of things that don't matter anymore, talking about like the SOPA bill.
I know. I
Stop
know.
Online Protections Act. It's like, I think that's what stands for. Fuck, like, who remembers SOPA? That was such a big deal for like 5 minutes, and then it got shot down.
Yeah, now we just don't have net neutrality anymore.
Go. Again, things that ended up coming to pass, that the newsroom like suggested, but not in a way that feels like prescient. It just feels like, yeah, the history repeats itself, dog. It's not, you're not that smart. That is actually a big reason why I think the newsroom in general is not that smart of a show. Is it's constantly trying to tell you that things are important, and then when they shoot them down and go, no, actually everything's fine. It's like, no, but in the reality of our world, a couple years later, all of this stuff did come to matter, but in more like not in like cool dramatic, we reported on the sarin gas kind of way. It's more like the boring net neutrality is just kind of vanishing in front of our eyes and no one's doing anything about it way.
Yeah, right.
Which is a good point. I think that kind of came to my mind as I was watching this first one. They have that really fun scene just to remind us, like, hey, remember we do the news too. Like, that is what the voiceover scene also feels like, is just reminding you, like, hey, we still do that, guys. Remember Mackenzie like does the thing where she's smart and clever at the drop of a hat. Basically, they have a voiceover in one of their discussions, and
the fact is like slightly wrong. So
it's like the guy's like
their
in trouble
guy.
for something, and then it's like, I know, actually he's being investigated. So they call up the voice guy, and they're like, where are you? And he's like, I'm at dinner with my kids in Benihana. They're like, all right, can you say this word into this microphone, please? Can you get to a quiet place? And then he like Looney Tunes his way out of the Benihana area. And then he says the line, they're like, no, 20% slower. And then he gets it, and it fucking syncs up perfectly. And you're like, it doesn't it doesn't work.
It's just
like
a little
that.
shot of adrenaline, which I'm fine. I was fine with it, because at the end of the day, we want more of that stuff and less of everything else.
Everything else.
Yep. So I was okay with it. And then we get Will singing Friday as it's going on, which is nice.
Why?
Well, it helps to place you in time, in a moment in time.
In an era.
Really it defines the moment. That and the fact that they play fantasy football really helps you.
Oh my god.
Understand that it's the early 10s.
It's, again, speaking of things that just kind of fizzled out in sad ways, people still absolutely play fantasy football, but it stopped being a news item because of so many reports of like, are half of these websites like super sketchy, terrible, like run by terrible people? Yeah, they are. All right, well, okay.
have fun with your game. You don't
Have fun
seem
with
to
your
care.
game. People are still playing it, but like the general world doesn't give a shit about fantasy games anymore. Friday by Rebecca Black reminding me that you and I like spent a little bit of time apart in the beginning of this, like around this time, because we were going to college, and I remember specifically Gangnam Style by Psy coming out, and not when we hadn't seen each other for a couple months, and I came back and I was like, no, we missed a whole viral video. We never got to enjoy a viral video together. But it lives on in our hearts and our minds and our souls.
Yeah.
Maggie and Dawn drama. Do we even want to?
Can we just cover that in like 5 seconds, please?
Okay. I can do both episodes in 5 seconds if you want.
Of all the Maggie Dawn, or like the whole quadrangle?
Oh no,
like
the whole
Maggie,
quadrangle
Dawn,
is
Jim, Lisa.
that gets more into the second episode. The Maggie Dawn stuff in this episode is just like they are flirty and Jim is sad about it. Like they have like a high five or something stupid, or they have like a handshake.
Well, and then he finds the video in this episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that's correct. Yes.
So Dawn, I mean, you said it in your summary. Dawn watches a YouTube video of Maggie from last season, and then is for some reason has this moment of like self-righteousness, where he was like, oh, basically he feels proud of himself for bothering to pretend like he loved her. It just really is bad.
Yep.
And somehow Maggie comes out being the bad guy, even though Dawn is also being shitty.
And this is, I guess Jim also finds out about a bunch of this. He just feels so uncomfortable that he like turns around from watching them be cute, and then he's like, Maggie's talking about like, oh, we need to send somebody to New Hampshire to go cover the Romney campaign. Like, who are we gonna throw this garbage on? And then Jim plays the like guy who just got into a breakup, except he didn't just have a breakup, where he's like, I'm out of here. I need to get away from the world. I need to just shut it all down and cover the Romney campaign. Truly a wise man's vacation. Just getting to hang out on a bus.
It doesn't make any sense. Every character keeps talking about how it doesn't make any sense, and they're all right.
It's the truest thing anyone's ever said on the show. Is what, like, they have that whole scene where everyone's like, wait, why did he do it? Why did he do it and not someone else? Why did he choose to do it for 2 weeks? What happened to the other guy?
Everyone's like, he's a senior producer. This doesn't make sense. He's literally this. He's what's her face? Why am I forgetting?
Maggie?
Not Maggie.
Mac?
Mac. He's Mac's second in command. Why? Yeah. Why is he not there?
Do you know why, dude? It's because they need the chain of events to happen. Like, this episode ends.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why this doesn't work as a storytelling mechanism. Where it's like, we need weird stuff to happen to line up with whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, all of the plot of the season is laid out through complete contrivances. Like, basically, if you were to trace the line, which I did at the end of the episode, I traced the line. The guy who was originally going to cover New Hampshire jumped out of the second floor of a building and broke a bunch of his body parts, but isn't dead. He's in the hospital, so he can't do it. So Jim has to do it to replace him. But to replace Jim, because for some reason, Jim left because he's a sad single boy. To replace Jim, they have Jerry Dantana, who is a go-getter and a smart man, played by that one guy from that Sarah Michelle Gellar, Robin Williams show that got canceled. Jerry Dantana has a friend who happens to know about some news, through which he finds out about Operation Genoa. He tells it to Mackenzie and Will. They report on it. Bingo bango, we've got our season. Like, it's like gymnastics just to get, and it's technically it's a lot of it is based on like, they say like, oh, at the end of this, so they're like, oh, if that guy hadn't gone drunk and jumped off the building, none of this would happen. No, if Jim hadn't been a baby and like run away from his problems,
yes,
then none of this would have happened. It's bananas. It's ridiculous. I love this show so much.
It's just the silly. Why do we need to tell this story in this way? Why does it need to be a like butterfly effect chain of events that has no meaning whatsoever?
It's just this like everything is connected nonsense.
Yeah, like, but it doesn't have to be told that way, because you could just tell the same story of like they get a weird tip from anyone. From, like, it doesn't matter, because the person who brought them the tip is a character that they made up, and it was only in one episode told to a character who just got here.
And technically Maggie Maggie going to Africa also has to do with this relation. The relationship drama is the reason for the whole season.
I know. That's not good.
That's no good.
That's bad.
Aaron, what did you do, Aaron? Basically, that like, there's more that happens, but that like sums up my thoughts. There's Occupy Wall Street stuff. They have that terrible moment where somebody compares Occupy Wall Street to America's Arab Spring. I vomited.
Oh my God.
That's like a borderline event. Just like some protesters, like some like young 20-somethings protesting against like big money is the same thing as like, hey, we don't want a dictator as our government anymore.
I know. Yeah.
I'm putting my hand to my head like I'm a Southern belle, just like stressed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
What else goes on in this episode?
Jim goes on the bus. He meets the shittiest conservative dude in the world.
Yeah, just a total guy who makes no sense.
Just unnecessarily rude and exactly. There's some stuff about Sloane that doesn't matter. She's like, oh, Dawn, I still like you, kind of, maybe, I don't know, which is useless. Occupy Wall Street, like I said. Some more big plot. Neil meets the leader of Occupy Wall Street, except they don't have a leader. She's just like a girl.
Mm-hmm.
They get more scenes later. This is just the first part where he goes and visits, and she's like, everyone's doing the Quaker hand motions, and someone's like, I'm John, and we don't call it a sit-in. but also no press. Fuck off, press, cops.
Yeah.
Those are two things we don't like: cops, press, and big money. And then they're like, "That's three things." And he's like, "I hate big money." That was my version of that scene. It's a really dumb scene.
I like your version.
Thank you. The Occupy Wall Street stuff takes up a little bit more time than you think it should.
Yep.
And then the episode pretty much ends in a scene where we get way more of the cool bar this season. The karaoke bar with the cheap appetizers that they always go to.
Yeah.
We just get Mackenzie and Will talking about some crap where she's like, "Why didn't you do what I told you to?"
It's sort of like the oh my god, what was that called? The bronze? No. What was that called?
What?
In Buffy?
What's the bar in Buffy called? The Bronze. You're right. Good job.
Oh, what a bad name. Wow.
What a terrible
I
name.
never thought about how bad that name is. The reason I thought of Buffy is because this Jim being on the bus reminds me of the beginning of like season 2 when Buffy ran away or something. It's like just as bad.
It's like, why did they do this?
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the Bronze was that it was like a teen bar, like a teen center, and then it became a bar when they.
we have to just watch Buffy next after this.
I think so. I think it's just time.
I think I need it. I can't do these terrible shows anymore.
I can't do trash anymore. Hey, the Avatar was a good show.
I know. I don't know what I was referring to. I think I just meant this. It just feels like multiple shows.
I said if we do 2 episodes of this a week, it shouldn't last long, but it's gonna feel like it's gonna last long.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. That's what I got for first thing we do. Let's kill all the lawyers.
Yeah, there was. I don't remember who said this, but somebody said the line, "Tell Jim to get off the fucking bus. We're trying to do the news," and that I like that.
That's
like
Dawn.
that
I think that was Dawn.
Yeah, I love Dawn.
I know Dawn is your Patronus.
And then Will is showing. I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe this will show up more, but Will liking drones, and there was the whole scene with all the different experts on the issue of drones, and he kind of just let the pro drones guy talk without probing him too much. That was something.
Yeah, I mean, he has a part later where he's like, "Why does everyone care? Why am like, how am I a how am I a Republican?" Like he is taking a firmer political stance in a way that's kind of cool.
Right. Well, because it makes you, because if one of the conceits of doing the news good is that the newscaster inserts their own opinion more, this is kind of showing how that can break down or maybe go against what people think is a good idea.
What Newsnight 2.0 was supposed to be about, right?
Yeah, like it can, if you're trying to speak truth to power or hold people accountable, hold like leaders accountable, but also you're kind of okay with what they're doing, then those things come into conflict in a way that's interesting, but I don't think this show's going to examine it very much.
No, it will not. It's too busy doing scenes like the final scene of this episode where they're sitting in the bar and Mackenzie's like, "I can pay for my own drink, mister. I forgot my purse.
Mm-hmm.
Also I need money for the cab." Which, hello, 2011, what? Why do you need money for a cab? She's like, "Also I need money for tomorrow's cab." And then he tries to give me her money, and then she Jane Jetsons his wallet. I have thought, this is so weird. I have thought about that shot from the Jetsons theme song so much lately.
Yeah, I've thought about Jane Jetson quite a bit.
Well, okay, hold on.
No, I'm not being sarcastic.
No, you're being horny.
No.
No, never horny on the show.
I've thought about the phrase "Jane, his wife" a lot.
Yes, you have. I've known you for almost a decade, and you've thought about Jane, his wife.
This has come up before. It's just that is like the entirety of her existence.
You're so right.
His whole family, it's like his boy Elroy. He gets so much development, and then for his wife, it's just Jane his wife.
And she's got like the best fashion sense, some of the best voice acting. Like Jane,
she saves his life every day from that crazy thing.
Sorry, I just got what you meant.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't. Her and Rosie. I want a show that's just her and Rosie, and then the daughter, whose name I can't remember.
Was Rosie played by Rosie O'Donnell or meant to look like Rosie O'Donnell?
It was the 60s.
Oh.
I don't even know if Rosie O'Donnell was born yet. Hold on. Now I actually want to know that. 1962.
Rosie O'Donnell, the Jetsons.
No, it's just Rosie the Riveter. Yeah, it started the year she was born. I don't know if they based it on her. I would hope not. God, we're talking about is this a Jetsons podcast now?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
Rosie O'Donnell was in the Flintstones film, so that's something.
She was
Betty Rubble.
Betty Rubble. That's God, that whole era of like the late '90s Jetsons movies, where like Kyle MacLachlan was the shitty boss.
In the Jetsons movie?
No, in the Flintstones movie.
Oh.
And they did like crossovers, and that was a really weird period of time for Viva Rock Vegas. That's the movie I'm thinking of.
Yep.
Always. That's always the movie I'm thinking of.
Yep.
But anyways, let's do some news. We actually have a decent amount of news bag comments, so let's give those a little read, and then we'll be right back to discuss the Genoa tip. Hello, listeners. Welcome to the news bag, where I, Alan, read your comments and feedback and explain them to the other listeners and respond to them. And it's a good time. We haven't done one of these in so long. I miss it. I miss that sweet, sweet news music in the background. Let's just listen to that. Ah, that sounds like news to me. I want to do some catch-up today because we haven't actually caught up on any of this news in a while. And it's all worth reading, so I'm going to get right into it. We got an email from our buddy Dan. This is from early last month. This is almost a month old, so sorry, Dan. I said I would read this on the last news bag, and I did not. But here we are. He says, today I find that I'm just struck with some general thoughts about the show. I don't like it, per se, but I do derive enjoyment out of watching it. I clearly get some sort of emotional payoff from watching that runs deeper than it's fun to hate. And it's not just me. I recently watched out ahead of my wife a couple episodes, only to later get a flurry of texts from her in which she was offering opinions and asking questions. She had apparently taken it upon herself to watch them on her own to catch up, and I'm pretty sure she's less of a fan than I am. There's clearly something that we both find fascinating about the show. I think that maybe we watch it not so much as a show, but as a sociological and psychological study. We also make it a point to watch the show The Curse of Oak Island, even though what's happening on the screen there is utter nonsense. Excuse me. But it's fascinating to see someone take nonsense and shape it into a story and give it a point of view and send it out there. Even though The Curse of Oak Island is ostensibly a documentary and The Newsroom is a fictional account of what was going on in a fictional newsroom during a very real specific point in time, I think they have a vital thread in common. They are both a show about the show. They've entered this meta space where what's happening on the screen isn't necessarily compelling, but the real-world implications of what they're suggesting are worthy of study. The Curse of Oak Island isn't actually a documentary about a group of people who have come together to find hidden lost treasure. It's a study about the psychology of self-deception, the persuasive power of groupthink, and the lengths that a human mind can go in order to believe silly things. And The Newsroom isn't actually about the goings-on of a newsroom and the people involved. It's a character study of an older white male who thinks that he's got life figured out, and we should be taking cues from him while he simultaneously puts on full display exactly why we shouldn't be taking cues from him. It's an impressive lack of self-awareness, and I find that I can't stop looking at it. That's a really beautiful way to view the show, honestly. Like, this whole... I don't know, it speaks for itself, but... Dan, you clearly thought about this a lot, and I love that. This idea that it's the show about the show. Like, I think Aaron Sorkin in general loves doing that kind of stuff. A lot of his shows are about the show. And then also that it's about this like flawed interiority that we're supposed to, on one hand, respect, and on the other hand, almost like laugh at, is really fascinating because it doesn't work. And I think that is often like, Magellan and I love recording the podcast, but sometimes we just get to certain moments, especially with this one, where it's just like, oh, what? I'm just tired. This show just often makes me tired because it's just like, come on, show, why are you making me think about this and like this in this way? It's a frustrating show, but your point about what it's actually about is really cool. Anyways, we also got another email from our buddy and Static Dax. This is a short one, but he says, greetings, Alan and Magellan. This is from, I think, about a week ago. He says, sorry for the lack of emails. My work got super busy when we got a huge new contract, and I've been doing overtime. I've barely been able to stay awake long enough when I get home to watch anything on TV, so I'm behind on your show. The last episode I saw was the first part of the two-parter when it ended with a blackout, and now I can't even remember what the storyline was. One thing I do recall is how much better the show is when I just watch it once and don't take the time to think about it. Accurate.
You may have also noticed that my Twitter is gone. I got suspended for harassment for cussing out Donald Trump too many times. He deserved it, so I don't mind. Wow, that is on point. Thanks, Dax. Keep on doing what you're doing, I guess. Anyways, just wanted to drop a line and let you know I haven't vanished. I'm just busy. I've downloaded season 2, but I have no idea when I'll get to it. I'll be around eventually. Take care. Keep podcasting. And I'm going to have to binge it to catch up when I finally get a day off and can stay awake. God, first of all, binging the newsroom sounds miserable. I'm sorry that you're thinking about doing that. If you want to just hop on when we get to season 3 or something, that's also very cool. Dax, I love you, man. You got suspended. I was gonna say we haven't seen you on Twitter for a while. Apparently, yeah, your Twitter is gone. R.I.P. You should probably just make a new one, right? Like, I don't know. Anyways, the final comment that I wanted to bring up, again, another this one is from several weeks ago, and I just never got a chance to talk about it here. Friend of the podcast and recent guest Jessia sent me a link back on the 16th of last month saying, this is a article from Playbill.com. It says, Jeff Daniels to reunite with Aaron Sorkin for Broadway's To Kill a Mockingbird, which she's very excited to see. Jessia is she's a huge fan of plays and musical theater and all of that stuff. Let me see if I can read some of this article. Oh, he's doing it with Celia Keenan-Bolger, Gideon Glick, and more. I don't know if those are people I'm supposed to know. If I was more into musical theater, maybe. Sorry. I am uncultured. Celia Keenan-Bolger was from The Glass Menagerie, and she did Peter and the Starcatcher. A bunch of other people are on this. Man, yeah. Stephen McKinley Henderson from Fences. None of these people I recognize. LaTanya Richardson Jackson from Raising in the Sun. Yeah, so, okay. I mean, I like To Kill a Mockingbird, and I think, of course, Jeff Daniels is doing this. This, I'm assuming he's going to be Atticus Finch. Maybe I shouldn't assume that. That weirdly fits. But also, why are you doing a To Kill a Mockingbird musical in 2018? What are you doing? Oh, God. Please, if you live in that area, or you get a chance to go to Broadway, and that's out, watch it and tell me how it is, because I'm not seeing that shit. No thanks. Oh, God. Oh, goodness. Anyways, that is going to do it for this issue of the News Bag. Thank you so much for listening. Please stay tuned as Alan and Magellan discuss the second episode of Season 2 of The Newsroom, The Genoa Tip.
Welcome back to the Chatz Room. The second episode that we watched this week was Season 2, Episode 2, The Genoa Tip. It was written, of course, as always, by our boy Aaron Sorkin. Aaron Sorky. It was directed by Jeremy Podeswa. It aired July 21st, 2013, and it takes place between August 25th, 2011, and it concludes on September 13th of 2011. Magellan, my good friend.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in this episode? What happens? I'm so tired.
Well, let me tell you what happens.
Bring it.
In this episode, Will ponders his ruined career. Well, hold on.
Well,
is his career ruined?
Well, it's besmirched.
Wait, by what? How?
By Occupy Wall Street. By American Taliban.
His career's not ruined, though.
I didn't write this summary. Well, I edited this summary. I guess I didn't look at that line.
Oh, you didn't? This is what was on the wiki?
This is edited from the wiki, yeah. But that line is from the wiki, yeah.
All right. I'll just read it. In this episode, Will ponders his ruined career while Maggie and Sloane concoct a scheme to track down the user that posted the YouTube video. Don wrestles with the impending execution of Troy Davis. Mac encourages Jerry to pursue the Operation Genoa tip, and she greenlights Maggie's assignment to Uganda. Meanwhile, Jim meets opposition from the Romney campaign and a reporter from a rival competitor. Will restrains himself from anything that might offend America. Sloane and Elliot take over for Will during the 9/11 10-year anniversary coverage. A couple of technicians in the control room discover footage from the morning of September 11, 2001, in which we see the first meeting of Will and Charlie. Neil is arrested at an Occupy Wall Street protest with Shelley Wexler. Will attempts to bail him out of jail.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Again, speaking of episodes that they're based on stuff that we don't care about, then like 9/11 stuff didn't resonate with me at all.
Nope, me neither.
I don't like that scene where they're watching Charlie meet Will and be like, "Hey, you have kids?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do it for the kids. I'd love to be a good reporter." And then Will does a good report because he's like, we're gonna be here with you all night. We don't know the body count. Sad, sad, sad. It's a bad event. Like, yeah, it is. I know that. I was a baby. I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
So I'm sure older people in their if they were in their 20s or something, or in their like late teens when 9/11 happened, that I would bet you any mention of stuff like that probably gets you.
Sure.
It didn't like get me because I just all I associate with that event is the awful stuff that has happened since then as a result of it, unfortunately.
Right. It also is just a really contrived moment where it's these two technicians that we've never seen before, and one of them is like, "Hey, you want to see a piece of station history?" And the other one says, "Yeah," instead of "No, I want to do my job.
We're on the clock, you fool."
I want to go eat a sandwich, please." And then they like watch. I don't know. The thing that bugged me is that this was Will's first day at the desk or something.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that his first day was 9/11. And that's why he's a big time newsman now. That is what bugged me. That it wasn't really about September 11th. It was about like, oh my God, Will. That's why it didn't resonate.
I mean, we've talked so many times about how one of the biggest faults of this show is that it keeps trying to make us love and respect Will as like a good newsman. And it's like, if you got out of the way and made that about like how the world reacted to 9/11 instead of like, look at this guy crushing it on his first day, I think it would have landed a lot better.
Right.
It's just, if that is part of the focal point of this episode, then I think it fails spectacularly, because it's just like, I did not care about any of that stuff. It's not a huge percentage of the actual airtime. It's just like one of the things that the episode is about. One of the biggest problems also, I think, with season 2 of the Newsroom is that we kind of lose these like per episode plots. Like, yeah, there is 9/11 stuff in this episode, but like I said, it's such a small part that it is pushed out of the way for like much more of Genoa stuff and relationship drama. Like, it's like a season entirely about the season and not about the moments in the middle, which is really unfortunate, because I think we've said before, like, we really like when the Newsroom is about people doing the news, and when it's about these like small stories that are like interesting and memorable. Like, that is where the Newsroom works.
And it feels like in this episode the day-to-day news has a much smaller role. Like, the stuff about Roy Davis is really kind of secondary, to the point where I completely missed. This episode was very boring to me. So it's hard for me to stay focused. And I totally missed the beginning of Don and Will and what they were talking about this episode, so that by the time it was the end of the episode and they said Roy Davis has been executed, I was like, oh, that's who they were talking about this whole time.
It's Troy Davis.
Troy Davis. See, I don't even know who he is.
Right, no, but that's a good point. Like, the fact that that's not memorable.
Yeah.
Because that dude is, like, that's an important historical moment. Basically, I had to look this up extemporaneously because the show doesn't do a very good job of explaining it.
Right.
Dude was a security guard at, I think, a fast food restaurant in like the 80s.
At a Burger King, I think.
At a Burger King. And out of self-defense, saw some people like assaulting some other people, shot somebody, and then most witnesses were like, I think he did it out of self-defense, and then like 2 people said that he killed the person, and then he went to jail and was executed many, many, many years later. Just like conflicts in like U.S. criminal justice system. But the show has nothing to say about that, because it's so throwaway.
Right. Well, I totally missed like what Don's take on it was.
Right.
Don seemed like he didn't want him to get clemency or something, right?
Yeah, they talked about clemency a lot.
It just was not clear. Anyway, the point is, that was the one one-off news item of this episode, and they didn't really make a big deal out of it at all. But then for some reason it was supposed to be the end beat of the episode. It didn't really make sense.
I think it being the end beat is just like, and like they kind of use the final scenes of episodes to be like, and life goes on, the news gets reported, and another day happens.
Yeah.
Because this season is supposed to be like chapters in an arc, and so they're just kind of like using it to bookend the chapters.
Sure.
Which, I don't know, I agree, it's not that interesting. The episode is bogged down with stuff like Maggie wants to find out the person who published the video of her yelling at the Sex and the City bus, and through some very bullshit 2011 technology babble, she's like, it's just the scene of her standing over the computer, and being like, oh, where's she in on Foursquare? Oh, she's at this laundromat. Oh, she tweeted about it being like she just did the wash cycle. That means she has 15 minutes on the dryer, and then if I take this train to this place, then I'm gonna get her.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
which I'm sorry, but the N train is not that reliable. It's just not.
Is it like super delayful?
Yeah, you can't clock your stocking to the N train.
She does apparently in this episode though, and she runs into the girl at the laundromat with Sloane. By the way, she goes with Sloane, which ends up being important. I like that this Erica girl is very new. Like, she feels, to me, as somebody who's never lived in New York, she feels like somebody from New York, where she's just like very defensive and like not self-centered, but she's like out for hers and her owns, or whatever that phrase is. Like, she just like does not like want to talk to this stranger and is immediately threatened. And she's like, why are you being weird? And Maggie's like, I realize what I'm saying is creepy, but I found you. I stalked you, but I didn't stalk you. And then Sloane's like, listen, honey, take the video down. Sloane is a 1920s cop in my head. And then she's like, I host a blog. If you tweet about my blog, then I'll take the video down. And then Sloane is like, tweet this shit about the economy and I'll do it. And she's like, that's boring. She goes like, that doesn't really help my blog though. It just sucks.
Whatever.
Just sucks. And then she does the thing, and then she doesn't take the video down. And then Lisa finds out about it. And okay, I like this scene. You told me you didn't like this scene. Where Lisa finds out and tells Maggie, basically, we aren't friends anymore. I'm your landlord. I am the one who knocks.
Yeah. I just didn't like it because it just drove home the fact that Lisa has never been anyone with any sort of consistency on this show. And so now we're just going to use her to be like crazy roommate person. It just felt kind of cartoonish to me. Literally, Maggie walks in and Lisa's like, hey, do you need a hug? And then whispers in her ear, you're so full of shit, Maggie. No person would do that.
She's just drinking wine and the room is like very darkly lit. She's walking around like, what did you say? Tell me what you said. Yeah. Who did you say it to?
She's just like a Daredevil villain or something.
It's such a Marvel villain.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense.
I just like how ridiculous it is. Because I agree, Lisa is no one character. She is whatever fits the tone that they need. Which, like, good on that actress for like playing, like, there's just no consistency to her character and she plays all of them really strongly. Right. But because there's no consistency, it feels very, very fake, very dishonest. Which, again, these like small scenes detract from how we're supposed to feel about the season's arc. Like, Maggie feeling like everybody is against her and all of her relationships are crumbling. That is all the stuff that leads to her deciding to go to Africa, to Uganda specifically. And she, like, I don't know, that one of your roommate is a cartoon Marvel villain. Your ex is an asshole, and the guy that you like is also an asshole who is on the Romney trip, and he's probably gonna have sex with the blonde girl on the bus. Like, none of these people are like interesting enough or realistic enough for me to care that you're like so emotionally brought down. Because there is something, right, to the like, I need to get away from the shit going on in my life. I'm gonna go somewhere really far. But
yeah,
they don't really like point out how privileged she is to be able to say like,
Mac, I want to do a whole expose on the shit going on in Uganda right now, and I'm gonna take Gary with me, and we're gonna go for this amount of time, and you're gonna let me do it. And then she's like, you can't just do that, like on the company's money, right? She's like, yeah, but I'll make it a story, and I'm just gonna go there. Like, I think it's so important how they're like changing the way justice works over there. And she like gets all this permission from like the Department of Justice and like Homeland Security. Everyone checks off Maggie's like horrible nightmare trip that's obviously not going to go well. She takes Gary with her. You took another one of our our people of color off the show. Sad, because they don't really get, there isn't like Maggie is in Africa scenes that much.
Oh, really? It's just like, let's go off screen for a while.
Yeah, mostly. Like, there's like little shots of like, here's what Maggie's doing. Anyways, bye, because there's no time for that. So it kind of like
I'm
feels
okay
like
with that.
Yeah, what are they gonna do? Like, it's you know what's gonna happen. The last shot of them after, she goes up to Mackenzie while Mackenzie's at the gym just pumping iron, and Mackenzie says you can go. She goes up to Gary and she's like, we're going, but he cuts her off and he's like, there was a protest that got super fucking violent in Uganda, and she's like, do you still want to go? And he's like, hell yeah. How about you? And she's like, hell yeah. just a bet. Like, you're just watching a train wreck happen. That's the other thing, is you just like, you're not surprised that all of the stuff that ends the season is going to happen. It's just like watching dots get connected.
Yeah, and it's not really interesting.
Well, it doesn't require anything out of the viewer. There's no like intelligence or input required from you, because all of it is obvious and writ very large.
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, there's probably going to be like some damage, and then she's going to get hurt, and then she's going to come back, and you know how it goes. God, what even else happens? There's Will and Dawn. Occupy Wall Street
Jim's
continues
on the road
with the young Republicans that listen to 80s ballads.
Right. There's not really a lot going on there with Jim on the road.
It's just that there's that girl who's smart.
Yeah, and there's that one guy that they always yell at. That was kind of funny.
I like the joke that guy is, he's like the Newsroom characters being yelled at by real people with real lives.
Yep, yeah.
Where he's just like reading the article, and it's like, the people said this, and they're like, we're looking at the article, and he's like, and then they responded by saying, they're like, we're looking at the same thing you're looking at. Don't just read the article out loud. That's not fun for us.
Yeah, and he like assumes that each phone call is to his own phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that little character.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a critique of the like news of the Sorkin character, like self-important kind of guy. Also, they all drink Bud Light and PBR. I always pay attention to what kind of beer people are drinking. Yeah. I think the type of alcohol you drink can say a lot, or what you choose for a show says a lot about where you think the characters are at.
Right. Yeah.
Because Mackenzie, when she's in the bar in the other episode, gets a Jameson on the rocks, and the bartender knows that's her regular order. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hell yeah, Mackenzie gets Jameson. That's very cool of her. Mm-hmm. But she can't pay for it herself because she forgot her wallet at home. People showing each other their relationship video. Just tons of like Maggie and Dawn and Jim being sad, calling each other on the phone.
That stuff.
Just scene after scene of that. And it's kind of funny to me that it's 2011, but we're still showing each other videos on laptops because nobody uses, like, they have smartphones, but there's
some of them. Jim doesn't. He has like a BlackBerry.
Right. Oh yeah, he does. He like super duper has a BlackBerry. I don't think people use laptops as much anymore. I know they do, obviously, but the idea of like sitting somebody down in your apartment and being like, check this out, press the space bar, play this video not in full screen for some strange reason.
Right. So that you can see the title.
Yeah, so you can see the title and the comments and the fact that it's definitely YouTube. Like,
right.
It's, yeah. And then, I don't know, man. Neil goes to jail for going to an Occupy Wall Street meeting. And then we see police brutality happen. There's nothing surprising about that. We know how the world works.
Yeah, we knew that Occupy Wall Street was a thing.
Right. And it's basically him being like, you guys don't seem like you have an ethos. I'm going to mansplain your own fucking group to you, girl. And she's like, we know we have an ethos. And he's like, no, but you have too many. Like, you need to have one. she's like, yeah, it's fine. We don't have a leader. We have a goal. We have a thing. It's gonna work. And he's like, all right, good luck. I'm gonna come to this protest with you. He has the smart idea to film the protest and stream it on Ustream because it's 2011. Damn it.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, he's like, Maggie, check Ustream. Which is actually smart. People now would just use like Twitter Live or something if you're filming from your phone, because or like Periscope is technically what it's like the best version of that. Is Periscope still around?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I used to do a really fun thing because I'm really cool where I would watch. You would just like spin the globe on Periscope and then like land on a country and just watch somebody's live video from that country. I actually have one. Yeah, it is still. I still have the app on my phone. It says "Proudly Made in America by Immigrants." Wow, I didn't know Twitter was woke. Anyways, basically he is filming the protest and then he gets beat up because he looks suspicious and he's holding a phone. He gets arrested by a shitty cop. All of the footage of this gets out. Will says, "Send the footage to my phone," which is hilarious because like it's on the internet. Just like click, like give me a link, I guess.
Yeah.
They're all like, "Who's gonna bail out Neil?" He goes to bail out Neil. He goes to the jail. It's fun seeing Will in like a blue collar jail for some reason to me, because it's like he's walked into the set of Orange Is the New Black or something.
Yeah. Right.
John DiMaggio is the like honestly like very friendly jail person.
Cop guy, yeah, he's very patient.
You never
the idea that Will blows up at him and his response is to be like, "Are you okay,
sir? Are you okay?" It's so weird because that character is definitely like in either real life or in other media is going to be the one who's like, "Listen, pal," and then like yell back at him.
Yeah, right.
But this guy's like very patient and very like a good listener. And he's just like, yeah, he probably did some really nasty stuff. Like, I don't believe you. I'm not just going to let you bail him out for money. And then Will's like, "Check this out." Beep, plays the video. And then he's like, which do you want to be, that guy or you right now? And he's like, "All right, fine, I'll bail him out." Like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
That's not how that works at all. You don't just prove to someone whatever. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Me trying to make any sense, us trying to make any sense of this show and its logic is a fool's errand, to be honest with you.
True. That's true.
And basically, yeah, he gets Neil out. They have that fun scene at the end where Neil is at the bar and everyone's like, "Yay, hooray for Neil."
Yeah, I like that. They're like, how long were you in there? What do you say? This is like a couple hours or something?
No, he's like, it really changes. It really messes. You have a lot of time to think. And they're like, "How long were you there again?" He's like, an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Like enough time to get checked in, basically.
To Neil.
And then basically the episode ends with this like faux important scene where I think it's Jerry Dantana or somebody has Eric Sweeney on the phone. He is the gunnery general who is involved in Operation Genoa. The only funny thing about this part of the plot is we get a lot of scenes in this episode of Jerry, who Mac calls JD, by the way, which is fun, of Jerry being like, "Yeah, Eric Sweeney, yeah, gunnery, I'll hold, yeah, I'll hold." And then like someone else is talking and it cuts them off. Be like, "Yeah, I'm still here. Like he's just constantly on hold.
I like Jerry. I like him.
Yeah, he's all right. He's fine. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Like he fits in the show's cast of once we have a thing we want to do, we'll stop at nothing to do it kind of vibe. And he's played well. That guy's fine. They finally get Eric Sweeney on a voice call. And Mackenzie comes on and she's like doing the whole, "Do you know that you're speaking to the press? Do you know that you're leaking confidential information?" "Yes, I do." "Can you say your name? Can you say what your position is? And then can you say what happened?" And then again, Sorkin just can't have the women on his show know what's going on. So Jerry has to have that part where he's like, "Eric, I don't think she knows what's going on. Can you explain it to her?" And he's like, "I was there, ma'am. I saw it all." Dun dun dun. Ruh-roh, Shaggy. Ruh-roh. I like doing Scooby-Doo voices. Yeah. Operation Genoa, it's a real thing. Can you believe it? No, me neither. Well, okay.
Here's my question for you, Magellan.
Yeah, what's that?
What is the truth of Genoa? Did none of it happen? Did some of it happen? Because what they say is, basically, he says, there was a U.S. operation in, I believe, Afghanistan. I'm sorry, I can't remember the country. I'm bad. And they were trying to take out some terrorists, and they used sarin gas, which is a nerve gas that's banned by the Geneva Convention. And they killed a lot of actual civilians in addition to terrorists, and that's like a huge law-breaking, treasonous thing to do. What part of that is true and not true?
You want me to guess which parts are true and not true?
Yeah, because I guess you don't there isn't a lot for you to guess based on. So just kind of take a shot in the dark.
Who cares?
This show does, man.
Who cares, man?
Truly.
I don't know.
It's some shit. Whatever.
I don't think it's that gas. That can't be that gas.
It can't be that gas. It's probably some farts.
Yeah, they probably just farted on him. And that's
yeah, the truth of it is not that. It's not like a huge thing. Whatever. We'll get to it very soon. And then we'll be past it and we'll be like, remember when they thought it was important that we know about blah, blah, blah? It was not.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That'll be good.
We're free, Magellan.
We're free.
We're free. Now I want you to do something else for me, Magellan.
Okay, what's that, dude?
I want you to tell me what we are watching next week on the Chatz room.
Oh, I will tell you.
Thanks.
I will tell you that.
It's avocado. Thanks.
Next week, we're watching Season 2, Episode 3 and Season 2, Episode 4. Episode 3 is entitled Willie Pete. Will continues his mission to civilize by telling Nina Howard the truth. A new witness to the Genoa story emerges on Twitter, and in New Hampshire, Jim's efforts to have his questions answered continue to fall on deaf ears.
Nothing is told.
That's not the advancement of that plot. That's just the same thing.
Yeah, that's like saying that's like last season's Jim and Maggie and Don continue to have problems.
Yeah. Episode 4 is entitled Unintended Consequences. Maggie tries to convince Rebecca she's fine following her shattering trip to Africa with Gary. An Occupy Wall Street protester with a Black Op lead refuses to cooperate with Neil and Jerry after an on-air interview with Will goes poorly.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
And we've got 9 episodes total, it looks like. All right.
Yep. So 3 weeks after this one. So we have 5 weeks total of this season.
Gotcha. All right.
And then we're free.
I can do it.
Rebecca is the lawyer's name, by the way. Rebecca Halliday.
Rebecca.
Magellan, it's time for the plug zone.
Hell yeah.
Are we allowed to say that on this show? Oh my god. Fuck, dude. Magellan, tell the fine folks listening to you with their earphones where they can find you on the online.
Well, you can find me online starring in Amazon's program Luck as Ace Bernstein.
Isn't that Dustin Hoffman?
Yeah, I just saw an ad for this. I didn't know Dustin Hoffman was in an Amazon show. No. You can find me online on Twitter at JustAFluke. That's JUSTAPFLUKE. You can also listen to me on Adulthood. That's ADULTHOOD. It's another show, and I've got some stuff to put into a thing for it. Alan, what about you?
Hi. I am on several podcasts. I have a new one to announce. Hello, and hooray.
Ooh.
What? First off, you can listen to me on Chatz. If you want me once a month, you can listen to me on Fireside Friends. That's found at firesidefriends.net. It's part of a big old network of podcasts called Admiral Mapping. In it, we talk about media and fun sort of think piecey stuff, and then we also do a shared experience every month, and it's a really cool time. If you want more of my voice for some bizarre reason, I just started.
I don't want you once a month. I want you once a day.
Oh wow, that's a lot. I don't know about that. But if you somehow want that, thanks. You can listen to me on a new podcast. It's called The Garnet Wager. That's a podcast I just started with my friend Six. We are watching the Korean game show The Genius, which is a sort of like reality show with competitive elements and sort of like sneaky stuff and backdoor deals, and it's fun and surprisingly innocent for most reality shows. And then we also play games ourselves, and then it's like we win games and then we make each other watch stuff. It's cool.
That's fun.
You kind of got to listen to it. It's got it's like 3 premises in one.
Is it out?
I would hope by the time this episode comes out. If not, check our Twitter. I'll post about it.
All right.
I'll link it somewhere. The first episode should be out very soon. And yeah, if you want to check out our podcast that you're listening to right now on the online, you can find it at Chatzpod on Twitter. That's CHATZPOD. Chatzpod@gmail.com if you want to send us newsbag comments. And make sure to rate us on your favorite podcasting apps. If you like us and you want to see more of us, recommend us to your friends.
Yeah.
That, dear listener, is going to do it for this episode of the Chatz Room. Good night.